Good morning. This is day 2 of Inside Out, my 30-day personal experiment in shifting and creating my reality, manifesting the things in life that I want without this Western tendency towards pursuit and consumption. Instead of chasing and acquiring new things and new people and new situations, I'm focusing on building the life I want with what I have from the inside out, and seeing if I can't manifest and attract instead of pursue and get caught up in this constant cycle of having to do. Because I've tried that and it doesn't seem to work that effectively. So this is a theory I have, and this is my new process for trying to create a new life, build the life that I want. So I do a lot of internal work personally on a regular basis. Because of this, things are very close to the surface for me. So the minute I stop moving and doing things, the underlying issues float to the surface pretty quick and present themselves. So yesterday was day one of creating conscious space and awareness to allow myself to feel my feelings and be more present in the moment, and make a conscious effort to attract the things in my life that I'm looking for at this point. So yeah, it doesn't take long for me to tap into whatever's below the surface. So in the past year, I just ended a toxic relationship that was 6 years long, and it was quite destructive. And in addition, I've been dealing with COVID, being isolated in a foreign country. At the end, in addition to the end of a 6-year relationship, and I just finished a 14-month sexual assault trial, and I've been experiencing some financial pressure with COVID. So I've had a lot going on. And my way of dealing with things has been lately to not deal with them and just work through it, work all the time, keep myself busy. And so that's what I've been doing. So since yesterday was day 1 of opening myself up to this and stopping my constant moving and distraction, things arose very quickly, which always catches me off guard, because I expect that with the yoga and the self-reflection and the self-hypnosis and the conscious awareness, that things will magically be happier. And I forget that that's not the journey. So that's not always the journey. That's not always the way it works. Often, to get to feelings of gratitude and contentment and happiness and connection, we have to get through everything that's blocking it in between. And so last night I didn't sleep. I didn't fall asleep till about 6 in the morning. I've been incredibly anxious all morning. Prior to beginning this process, I had been feeling very detached, flat, pretty numb. It's just kind of what I had to do. I kind of had to shut down to get through what I had to in the past year. So I disassociated a bit and recently allowed another person to get remotely close to me, and by close to me I mean not close at all, but close for me, because I have a very avoidant personality. Because of my history, my relationship and familial history, I have become very avoidant as a protective device, and I'm really good at keeping people at an arm's length. And since COVID and moving to a foreign country, it's been more like a block's length. So let's just say I've allowed someone to get on the same block, which kind of awoke me from my numbness. It created a little bit of spark that I had been missing for a while with this whole COVID isolation and just working through things as a coping mechanism, as an unhealthy coping mechanism. So my immediate response to that little light turning on is panic, fear, anxiety, anger, helplessness, terror, because I'm so avoidant. When anybody gets even a little bit close to me, I immediately feel defensive and out of control. I don't like to not be in control of the things in my environment or the way I'm feeling. So this is something that is causing me a lot of anxiety right now. So yeah, that came up quick. Day 2. Wow, I didn't expect it that fast. I didn't expect it at all. But what I learned last night when I wasn't sleeping was that not only am I avoidant, I'm a disorganized attachment style, which is very chaotic and inconsistent. And I'm noticing this pattern is not only in my relationships, but it's also in my work life. Disorganized attachment is created when an individual develops an attachment style as a response to it's a conflict between survival mechanism and a need for love in your life, because we all need love. If you've been in a situation where your source of love is also your source of pain and fear, physically, possibly, emotionally, it creates a conflict, because you still need that thing, you still need that love, you still need that connection, but you also need to protect yourself and you need to survive. So those two parts of yourself come into conflict. And I also find this to be a pattern in my work and career aspects of my life. I know that I need money. I know that I have to sustain myself. But at the same time, the source of my income is also usually something I'm in conflict with, whether it's an unethical organization or an abusive employer that exploits my work commitment, or just unsatisfying jobs that don't feel like they contribute to me. They feel empty, hollow, like just something that's contributing to consumerism in society and not really having a meaningful impact. So I'm constantly having conflict in those two areas, my relationships and my relationship to my work. So it's a big reason why I started this process, because I've changed the external circumstances 1,000 times and I recognize that what's blocking it for me is internal, not external, and that I don't think I'm going to have any meaningful change unless I can shift my perspective and create some kind of peace and stability internally, to help me manifest that externally. So here I am. So my normal response with my disorganized attachment style is panic, run, lash out, get aggressive, blow it up. Blow it up before the other person has a chance to hurt me or control me or avoid me, whatever. Yeah, so at this point my normal direction would be just pretty much shut down, pull away, and blow it up. So that is the reaction that I'm fighting myself today from participating in. And this is a lot my fault because I'm avoidant, generally highly avoidant. I've created a scenario where I've been isolated and I've not been nurturing supportive connections in my life. I'm in a foreign country. With COVID, it's really affected my ability to be able to make new connections, and the connection that I've created has multiple factors that make it the ultimate unstable scenario. It's distant. There's huge cultural differences, not so much in culture per se, but not physical culture, but social culture. It's very unidentified and non-committal. So that's like, even though I'm the one that created it, it's the ultimate trigger for me. So I built my own trigger. And I don't have an external support system to turn to kind of help me stay grounded and objective about it. So I have to create that on my own through this self-awareness. So here I am. So this is the perfect time to apply these concepts for this 30-day Inside Out experiment. I have real chaotic, tumultuous, less than sparkly anxiety, feelings, and emotions about my current scenario. So to be proactive instead of reactive, I'm going to keep doing my self-care, journaling, just checking in with myself, seeing how I'm doing, how I'm feeling, allowing myself to have my feelings, not trying to escape from them, distract myself from them, move my body, stretch, do yoga, continue with my gratitude exercises, focusing on what I have instead of what I don't have, trying to fill my own needs. It kind of continues my theme of hyper independence, but or at least maybe finding healthier, more stable ways to meet those needs in a controlled way that I don't have to give my power away to someone else. Learning more about disorganized attachment, something that I'd like to do so that I can learn how to stabilize that in my life and myself, and understand more how it's affecting my relationships. So that's where I'm at. I have not begun my day yet. This is me straight out of unslept, partially frazzled. I haven't brushed my teeth. Other than that, here I am. So I'm about to start my inside out therapy. So thanks for listening. Good evening. This is day 2 of Inside Out. The time is 1:23 a.m. It's another late night. I'm absolutely exhausted today. The last 48 hours have felt like 48 days. I feel like I've been on a roller coaster all day. I've experienced everything from terror, rage, ambivalence, grief, humor, mania, just the intensity and the range of emotion that I've been experiencing since I started this has been really intense, which is not something I was expecting, so it's kind of caught me off guard. A lot of it was related to what I was talking about earlier, learning about this disorganized attachment style that I've been dealing with, which I guess is something that I'm working to stabilize, to minimize the effects that it's having on my life so that I can create some kind of consistency and stability and a solid ground and platform to build and manifest and raise my energy levels to and from. So I would say this crazy roller coaster I've been on, this rapid cycling of emotion, was somewhat reactive, but the majority of it really felt self-originating. So I've brought into my awareness within the past 48 hours that I have 2 primary triggers, and one is aggression and the other is aloof. And they don't necessarily have to be occurring, but if I perceive that they're occurring, if there's any kind of hint to it that they might be occurring or there might be a chance of them occurring, then I have a pretty strong reaction to it. And my reaction to aggression is aggression back. I become quite aggressive and confrontational in response to that, and the other is aloofness. If I feel like someone around me is being aloof, then I out-aloof them. Then I become the most aloof person on the planet and pretty much just disappear. So I guess these are my 2 defense mechanisms that I hadn't previously recognized, and I didn't realize when I started this project that it was going to have anything to do with attachment theory at all, but this is what has come to the surface immediately. So here it is. Like I said, I thought this was going to be more about manifestation than psychotherapy, but that's where it's directing itself towards. So I'm just trying to be open to that and allow space for it so I can process and stabilize. So today, like I said, I went through quite a rapid cycling of emotions that included pretty much all of them, and it was such a minor trigger that kind of that created my reaction. So, yeah, at one point I remember walking down the street and just feeling like a giant raw piece of meat being poked with steak knives. I just felt really vulnerable, unsafe, out of control, wired, panicked. I had a total heightened sense of threat and vulnerability and irritation. I tried sitting with it and feeling it, and that did not resolve it for me. Tried releasing it, walking it out. I tried my different kind of self-care techniques, and those didn't really seem to make much of a difference today. I definitely felt like there was a manic aspect to it. I feel like I really had elevated cortisol levels. So as the evening progressed, I calmed myself down. I was able to calm down some. I came home and like danced it out, listened to some comedy, tried to have some humor, but even that felt like I was enjoying myself, but there was still an edge to it, so it didn't feel entirely authentic. I think next time if I experience something like this, I'll probably treat it more like a sick day and sit with it, accept it, and make some chicken noodle soup and just chill out until it passes. It was not what I was expecting, and so far none of this process has been what I've been expecting at all. I came across a new concept called intensive short-term dynamic psychotherapy, which sounds like it might be something that could be helpful for anyone who's kind of experiencing the aftermath of PTSD or any kind of challenges with attachment styles. So that's something I came across when I was looking for alternatives to cope with the feeling chaotic and out of control. That was the most frustrating part about it, was just not really feeling in control of myself and my own emotions. So my response to it was to completely retreat, back off, crawl into my little den of safety, I guess. And I can't imagine how it must have appeared from the outside, but I can tell you from the inside it felt very unstable. So that's where I'm at today. It's late again. I'm going to try to wrap these sessions up earlier, because I think that getting a good night's sleep and getting to sleep at a reasonable time is another element that I need to take care of as far as self-care. So today the methods I used to try to raise my energy level were I did 30 minutes of yoga. I did my AM and PM gratitude and intention setting. I ate healthy. I went for a walk. I tried to get out and go to the zoo and get into nature, but they closed early for COVID, so that I was a bit frustrated with. I went for a pretty decent walk. When I came back, I put some good music on and danced around the living room, danced my little heart out. That helped some. Listened to some stand-up comedy for a bit, so that actually pulled me out some too. And I did self-hypnosis twice, and the first time it did nothing at all. Couldn't even get into it. And the second time in the evening, when I was a little bit more grounded and calm, it definitely seemed to have more effect. So This is day 2. And, wow. I'm really... sorry, there's a mosquito buzzing around my head. Here in the Yucatan, and they're everywhere, so they're like little flying sharks. So I'm kind of a little bit nervous and interested to see how tomorrow goes, day 3. And it's been pretty intense so far. So that's it. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow.